Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to the Den of the Drink. Other dragons hoard gold, while I hoard internet cringe. I think that we can all agree that tabletop RPGs are firmly in the mainstream now. If you say, I play Dungeons & Dragons, people aren't automatically going to picture you as some nerdy basement dweller who gets shoved into lockers like they might have not too long ago. Which I personally think is a good thing, because everyone deserves to experience the feeling of bliss that comes with being a grown-ass adult pretending to cast spells. Unfortunately, not everyone accepts D&D getting launched into the mainstream as a good thing. See, there's a not-so-insignificant amount of people who wish they could banish the normies, because in their mind, D&D belongs to the outcasts of society. On one hand, I kinda get it. It must suck for someone to be ostracized by the mainstream only for the mainstream to force itself into a space where they finally thought they could be themselves. However, once you remove the Hollywood glasses, you may discover that there might have been a very good reason why polite society didn't want anything to do with that guy in the first place. I got an RPG horror story grab bag today, starring two of geekdom's creepiest weirdos. I would like to invite you all to grab your favorite loofah and comically adorable rubber ducky, because these are the kind of stories that you're gonna want to take a shower after hearing. Now, without any further delay, let's go ahead and dive right into the horrifying world of r/RPG horror stories. Enjoy. Story number 1 comes to us from a deleted user, and is titled, My DM was so obsessed with my PC, he became a stalker. I want to tell you guys kind of a really uncomfortable story that I've been holding on to for about a year. I don't really know how run-of-the-mill it is for this kind of thing, but here we go. I love D&D 5e, and I was craving to play, so I went on Roll20 to look for a game. Eventually, I found a game that worked for me, a homebrew world where devils and humans worked in harmony. So I applied as an imp who had lost her warlock master, and I accompanied my application with a cute cartoonish drawing I did of her. Now, something that I need to bring up so that the rest of the story will make sense. I am an artist that will occasionally draw NSFW commissions of people's characters. I don't draw it because I'm horny on main, but rather because drawing NSFW art is a great way to practice anatomy, perspective, and color theory. But it just so happens that one of the other members of the party recognized my art, and the fact that I've drawn NSFW of this imp character before. They brought it up in the middle of the game, much to my discomfort. I suspect this player sent the DM my art, which is how this whole thing started. We'll call this player Rick. The first session happens, and everyone is at a bar table except for my character. Me.
Alright. Where am I?
DM. Don't worry, I'm getting to that. Everyone introduces their characters, and then the DM explains that my character is wheeled in on a cart, chained up and naked as the cart owner is selling off my character. Me.
I thought devils and humans live together in harmony.
DM.
Your character is a prostitute? This is part of your act. You are working together in harmony.
I never applied to the game implying that my character was a prostitute in any way. In fact, I specifically said that my character literally just wants to find the warlock that summoned her. So clearly, something else was going on with this. Me.
Can we not? I'm not comfortable with that.
Rick. Then why did you draw porn of her? Me.
Because it's fun and good practice, not because I want to RP this kind of thing.
DM.
Okay, let's work on that. You're back in the tavern, and you aren't wheeled in on a cart.
That was my first red flag, and I should have stopped. But after that, he seemed to chill out on the sexual stuff for around 3 sessions. Around the end of the 4th session, the DM sends me a private message. DM.
Hey, you do commissions, right? I want to do an NSFW commission if you don't mind.
Me.
Sure. What do you have in mind?
DM.
I want you to draw your imp peeing.
Me.
Sorry. In my commissions page, it specifically says I don't draw that sort of thing.
DM.
Are you sure? I'll pay you good for it.
Me.
Yes, I don't like to draw that sort of thing. If you want to commission anything else that's not on the blacklist section of my commissions page, you can do that. Otherwise, I can't help you.
DM.
That's fine.
This was my second red flag, but I didn't think too hard on it. People have commissioned me to draw my own characters before, and it was usually flattering, but then it became a problem. After every session from there on, the DM kept trying to message me to subtly nudge me in the direction of drawing that particular thing, and every time I said no. Finally, we come to the last session I played in the game. Our party was facing down with the big bad evil guy, and he threw a 9th level fireball at my character specifically, knocking me out instantly. The BBEG grabs my character and teleports away. The DM reveals that the BBEG was the warlock who summoned me all along, and seeing him again makes my character pee from fear. After hearing that, I immediately left the Discord server and the game without even saying a word, because it all just clicked in my head that the DM is trying to force me to adhere to his water sports fetish. After leaving the game, the DM sent me messages relentlessly. I told him I didn't want any part of the game anymore, and he responded with empty apology after empty apology. Once he realized that it didn't work on me, he blamed me, saying that if I didn't want NSFW content in D&D, then I shouldn't draw NSFW of my D&D characters. I told him that he wasn't even meant to see the NSFW, and he would have never known if Rick did not tell you. After hearing that, he stopped messaging me for about a month, and then the most horrid part of this story happened. About a month after I left, Rick messages me profusely apologizing for ruining my time at the game. I tell him it's fine and move on with my life, but then a day later he sends me this message. Rick.
Hey, is your dad?
My dad's name. Me.
Yeah?
Rick.
Oh, shit. The DM lives in the same town as you. He messaged me saying that he talked to your dad.
My heart sank, and I just blocked Rick right on the spot and then blocked the DM as well. About a day later, though, I got a message from another account. The DM had apparently made another account just to talk to me. He sent me like 10 messages in the span of a minute, all of which were about how he talked to my dad and asking why I blocked him. I told him to leave me alone and that I was going to call the cops. He seemed to back off after I threatened to call the cops, and my dad tells me that he never saw the DM again. I haven't seen a trace of him in a year, and another player in the game who heard about it told me that he kept in touch with the DM a little bit, and that he heard that apparently the DM moved in with his parents in Canada, but this story still shakes me to my core to this day. TLDR. Someone recognized my character from some corn I drew of her. That guy told the DM and tried to pressure me into satisfying his water sports fetish. And then when I refused, he found out who my dad was, so I threatened to call the cops and he moved away to Canada. End of story.
I draw NSFW because it's good for practicing anatomy, perspective, and color theory.
Yeah. Are we absolutely sure it has nothing to do with the truckloads of cash that people pay for NSFW art? Slap some fox ears on your character, I'm sure you'd get commissions from lonely IT workers that match the GDP of some countries. Don't get me wrong for my sarcastic tone, but I got no problem with people who draw NSFW art since I respect all but the most depraved forms of both art and entrepreneurship. Own that shit, but don't imply that I'm dumber than I am by trying to sell me on the idea that you draw corn to gain a better understanding of color theory. Now on to the story itself. Jesus, that was a lot. You're a much more forgiving player than me, because the exact nanosecond the DM served up my character like a basted turkey would have been the moment I'd be throwing myself into the sun. I know that finding people on Roll20 is like playing Russian roulette, but this feels like you spun the revolver cylinder and found a grenade sitting in the chamber. The horror of someone finding your NSFW art, followed by them trying to commission you for your NSFW art, followed by them getting in contact with your dad to talk about your NSFW art. Sounds like a recurring nightmare in the same vein as the one where you show up to high school naked. But the worst part of this whole story is just how entitled DM felt after he found out about your services. Yeah, let's go with that. Never once did it occur to them that the person who just so happens to draw suggestive artwork would dare to have any sort of boundaries regarding suggestive things. People are not vessels for your own gratification, regardless of the sins that they choose to commit with a drawing tablet. Blocking the DM without a word was definitely the right call, because if you told him to piss off, he might have gotten the wrong idea. Wait! Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior GamerSupps? Wait a minute. This shit ain't saving anybody. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord GamerSupps? GamerSupps is back and better than ever with new creator collabs, new energy and sleep supplement flavors, and dope-ass partnered anime merch. Use the link in my description and code Drake at checkout to get a fat 10% off your order. Thanks again to GamerSupps for allowing me to fund my self-destructive lifestyle by slinging weeb crap like it was dope. This really is my life now, huh? Our second story comes from Reddit user DifferentPattern273 and is titled 16 Tons and What Do You Get? This is a story about a very large man. It's not actually about his weight so much as it's about how, despite everything that happened, he made it about his weight when he got kicked from my game. But hey, it made for a title at least. The group, no real names obviously. Me, the lovable DM. My ex, Halfling Ranger. Rumi, Human Sorcerer Wild Mage. The Bride, one half of a couple half-elf bard. The Groom, the other half, a half-elf rogue. Shy Gal, Wood Elf Warlock. And Oscar, a half-orc blood hunter. This is a story that took place back when Critical Role was wrapping up its first campaign. I hadn't played Dungeons & Dragons in years, but came across their videos and it got me interested in playing again. I started reading up on 5th edition and picked up the original Taldore campaign setting guide. I wanted to run a game in that world that took place some number of years after the show's first campaign. I advertised for players in a local Facebook group with info on the rules, setting, and campaign premise. I have 6 players in a couple of hours. Now, I live in a mobile home that I own. At the time, I had a roommate renting my spare room who would be joining in. He's a bit of a germaphobe. I also have a lovable cat named Delphi. This is important for later. I've set up a gaming room. It's a bit cramped, but large enough to seat all of us around a table big enough for my maps and minis. We have a group chat where we take care of all the usual Session 0 things and get all the character backstories set up. Everyone is excited for the game. Oscar misses Session 1 due to work. The game goes great. The party is throwing their lots together in an attempt to take up adventuring, as many groups have tried, and mostly failed, to do so in the wake of the legendary Vox Machina. They take up a job to investigate some illegal drug trading going on. After RP and checking up on leads, they head out into the swamp to check out a proposed hideout, and fend off some giant frogs on the way there. Nothing too harrowing. Week 2. Oscar arrives. He comes early as requested so I can catch him up. What pulls up to my house is an unmarked white van. It is full of trash to the tops of the windows. The dashboard is covered. There's a cube of space carved out for the driver of this vehicle. It's so packed in that when he exits, none of it even budges, despite my belief that it would all tumble out into my yard for sure. The man who steps out stands around 6 feet tall and is easily over 500 pounds. I immediately become worried. You see, my house, like many mobile homes, is narrowly designed. Doorways and hallways are skinny. It doesn't seem to bother him, though. He maneuvers sideways through my door and main hall, so it works out. This is not the reason he was removed. The next problem becomes readily apparent. I can smell him. It is like rotten food or straight up fresh dog shit. And it is powerful. It's the middle of summer and my house gets warm. I have fans set up in the game room because of this. However, they also blow this smell around as well. This is not why he was removed. He cannot fit in my chairs comfortably, so he declares that he will simply sit on my floor if it starts to hurt too much. Which is fine. Whatever works. After the session, the smell on that chair was so bad that we had to wash them several times and use multiple kinds of deodorizers. Rumi was losing his mind over how disgusting it was. He could smell it in his room from the game room even after Oscar left. This is not why he was removed. The other players arrive, and I could tell they all smell it, and they all know why it smells. I had adjusted the fans while he was in the restroom to blow in such a way that he would be downwind. Shy Gal seems especially uncomfortable this session despite her being my best RPer at the table. The party joins up with Oscar on the road, having been sent by Groom's Thieves Guild contacts as backup, when they learn just who he was going after. Oscar immediately begins to be incredibly rude and disrespectful to the others. Oscar.
Guess you're not enough for this, huh? You all look like pretties. Though some of you are good to look at.
This is directed at our women players. They are nonplussed. Bride.
And what do we need you for?
Groom.
Well, I did ask for backup, I guess.
So his character is an asshole. Not all characters are good people. I've played many assholes myself. It's fun to have them get their comeuppance eventually, too. The party just goes along with it, all while grimacing a bit at the repeated off-color jokes he was making. Eventually, they arrive at the hideout, taking down a patrol silently. They attempt to sneak up on the cabin. Oscar critically fails. I have players moving on the map to show how they are creeping up. He was trying to do so right along the front lawn, just creeping through the grass. They are spotted. All of the enemies are alerted, raising the alarm to their boss, making the trades inside. Drug dealers.
What the hell are you doing? Hold it right there!
Rumi.
We're gonna die!
Shy Gal.
Are the rest of us still hidden?
Oscar.
Come on, guys.
He cries, alerting the enemies that there's more of them.
Let's them.
Apparently, he meant that literally, as you will see. Initiative is rolled. The party enters into the fight of their lives. This was meant to be 2 or 3 smaller encounters that have bled together. The party lacks a dedicated healer, so if things go south, Delphi comes into my room. Now, I have a rule about my cat. You do not play rough with her. You do not encourage her to bite or claw. I've had experiences with cats who were taught that playtime was time to be aggressive, and then upset people by biting or scratching them hard. I make the same request of Oscar when Delphi jumps into his lap. He then proceeds to roughly mash her down into the floor, ruffling her fur like a dog and teasing her after rolling her onto her back. She is squalling that she does not like this. He then tries to make her play bite his hand. Me. Yo, leave my cat alone. Oscar.
Gee, sorry. I was just playing.
Me. I already told you we don't play with her like that. That was not the reason he was removed, though it should have been. Oscar eats a critical from the drug dealer boss that should have killed him, but he stays alive with the half-orc resilience ability. I later learned that this ability doesn't trigger if the attack was enough to kill someone outright, and it was. But I would have let it slide anyway. It's low level and massively unlucky. The party rallies. Rumi's wild sorcery actually goes off in a beneficial manner and the tides are turned. They win. Bride.
Healing word on Shy Gal to get her up.
My ex.
I'll secure the cabin. Make sure there's no more surprises hiding for us.
Groom. Backing up the ranger in the cabin. Rumi.
Gonna take a few moments to lose it over all the dead people and still being alive.
Oscar.
I rip off the leader's pants, flip him over, and fuck his body in the ass.
Party. Me.
You...
What? Oscar.
I said I rip off the leader's pants.
Me. Dude, I heard you, but no. Just no. Oscar proceeds to pout. The party members in the cabin uncover the stash and some other loot. Suddenly, Oscar just declares himself to be in the cabin and he steals the money right out of my ex's hands. I'm about to say something when she promptly reminds him that he has 1 HP left and knocks him right the f*** out. End of session. So, he tried to have sex with a corpse. Hardcore sexual content was not allowed as per session 0. He tried to steal from the party after metagaming teleporting to the loot as soon as he heard it was all there. And still, these are not the reasons he was removed. After the session, everyone thanked me for a good evening and headed out. I had noticed Shy Gal being off all night, so I messaged her after the game. This is when she drops the bomb. Shy Gal. Oscar and I have played before. We met at a random game store event. He kept being really sexually aggressive with me. And even though I told him no, he follows me to other games and keeps trying to get in contact with me.
Me. Oh, well, he's out then. F that guy.
And that's why he was removed. Turns out, I found out later on, he had a habit of doing this to women at tables he was at. Quite the reputation in the community at large. Now, I'm not one for confrontation myself, and I'm definitely not going to make a player feel even more unsafe by saying that she requested he be removed. So I decided to let him down easy. Me. After last night's session, I really didn't feel like things worked out the way I would like. I don't think your style is going to be a good fit for our group. I hope you have good luck in finding another game, and if you need, I can keep you posted if another Taldore setting becomes available from other DMs. Oscar.
Oh, so you just hate fat people. Not a fit. Real subtle. Yeah, your campaign was trash. I had to make it interesting just to bother to be invested. I don't need help from someone who doesn't accept people. Fuck you.
He then promptly blocked me on everything. I informed the group that he was removed without elaborating on why. No one seemed to mind. Sadly, the game did fall apart about a month and a half later. Work schedules and medical issues for players made it hard to keep a meeting. Shy Gal then went on to start running her own games with safe spaces for women players strictly enforced. Oh, by the way, I am also overweight. TLDR, enormous man joins my D&D game, is very gross, harasses my cat, commits necrophilia and party theft, is a huge creep to the women in and out of game, blames his removal on being fat. End of story. Ugh, if I had a nickel for every story that covered a literal demon who thought that people didn't like them because they were fat, I would have 2 nickels. And that is 10 cents I am really wishing I didn't have.
Ugh, I don't need help from someone who doesn't accept people.
Well, if not accepting an avatar of both Nurgle and Slanesh into my life makes me a bad person, then I have never been more proud to be considered a bad person. There's this social pressure that you need to be accepting of everyone, no matter what circumstances you find yourself in. And while this idea does come from a place of compassion, it really produces a lot more misery than it fixes. People, especially those in communities like RPGs or other niche hobbies, feel as if they need to accept the most vile behavior imaginable from other people, just because they share the same niche interests. Whether it's because they themselves relate to the feeling of being ostracized and don't want to inflict it on another person, or it's because they're desperate for any social connection at all, depends on the person. But the takeaway here is the same. You aren't a bad person for preferring to be alone instead of forcing yourself to interact with someone who makes you wish you were alone. Habitual sex pest, an assault on all 5 senses, annoying as fuck to play D&D with, stalks women and harasses animals? This is a man with literally 0 upsides that was still allowed to defile OP's home. That, of course, is the biggest tragedy of this story. But the second biggest tragedy is that Oscar will never change, even though I believe that change is almost never too late for most people. Oscar could shower, he could clean up his van, he could stop interacting with women like they're objects, and fuck,
Maybe he could even start exercising and eat a salad every once in a while. But none of that will happen because he's been completely convinced that none of his flaws are his fault. This is the other downside of the accept everyone no matter what philosophy. Oscar is incapable of fixing his shit because he's been convinced that any critique of his character or appearance comes from a place of shallow cruelty, and it's their fault for not being more accepting. How can you even begin to fix your flaws if you believe that you have none, and the ones that you can't deny are simply out of your control? The answer? You don't. You are condemning yourself to the life of a parasite, feeding off of other people's misplaced kindness until your unwashed ass is kicked back into the dumpster where the rest of the trash sits to ferment in its own juices, only to do it all again like some kind of unholy fusion of the Ouroboros and Christian. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that kindness is weakness or anything cringe like what you'd find in some 14-year-old edgelord's Instagram bio. You should absolutely be generous with giving out kindness to people, but you should also be kind to yourself by being able to recognize who is and who is not worthy of your kindness. And on that note, I think that's a good place to wrap up. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and upload your fan art to the official Den of the Drake subreddit linked in the description, or send it to the email in my channel bio. And if you feel like supporting my channel further, my Patreon, merchandise, and Gamer Subs affiliate links are in the description. I would like to thank you all for listening, and I hope to see you next time in the Den of the Drake.
Oh, I can't believe they all abandoned me just because I'm fat. I have so much love to give. But of course, I give most of my love to Drake's patrons. Patrons like Asteroid Leaf 426, Bro Tater Tots, BT9294, Cam the Badger, Doomzone Ahead, Draco, Flashest Git, Gobsite, Hezeret, Karam Archivals, Kirastol, Matthew Mulqueenie, Miramotow, Nerita Bell, Pilkman, Soul Taker 666212, Till Dingsabums, and Ziggy Diggy D00. Now those are some people who would never abandon me. Come on, guys. Let's go harass cats and chase women. Wait, where are you going? I knew it. I'm surrounded by fat phobia.
Hey, if you're still here, YouTube thinks you would like this video, and I fucked it up. Now they'll never click the link. It's so over.